Afghan journalist Bilal Sarwary joins me now from Toronto. He's covered the country for more than 20 years and recently left for safety reasons. Bilal, what do you make of these talks? I mean, the U.S. says these discussions certainly do not amount to any kind of recognition.
Well, we are sure now that the Taliban have failed to hold that promise of a general amnesty. They have really gone after mid-level members of the former security forces, and the Taliban have also not allowed women education at the moment. So that would be probably a hurdle in the talks, because the Americans do want the Taliban to make progress on those fronts. We also know that the Taliban are keen for the U.S. to release at least $9 billion that have been held, and that U.S. should lift sanctions. But a counterterrorism sort of an agreement is also going to be discussed, where the Taliban are already coming under quite a lot of attacks from the Islamic State. And the Americans will be very keen that the Taliban take action against members of Al-Qaeda. But as you said, the Americans have insisted that this does not amount to the recognition of the Taliban. And so long the Taliban can't secure international recognition and funding, they will actually continue to struggle to rule the country, to deliver to the people. And so far what we see is a severe crisis of government as well as a humanitarian crisis. And the Taliban have really failed to govern. They might have been able to fight over the last 20 years, but altogether, this is a different challenge for them.
I want to get to the bombing in Kunduz in a moment, but do you believe this perhaps is an opportunity, because these discussions are going to continue tomorrow, and it sounds like the Americans are pressing the Taliban hard on secondary education for girls, which has basically been banned for, 3 weeks now. Women, once again, are disappearing from the workforce and the public life. And then this government that was supposed to be inclusive, Bilal, we both know it's not. No women, no minorities, no members of the opposition. Why can't the United States say, unless you do X, Y, and Z, we're not going to give you aid? Is that the right strategy or not?
Well, we have to really remember that this meeting takes place in Qatar, a country that has also been castigating Taliban quite publicly now. So it does appear that everyone is disappointed with the Taliban. They've made a lot of promises. Perhaps their PR machine is much more effective than their practical policies. But it will be also very, very difficult for the Americans and the rest of the international community to both legitimize Taliban and to give them funding if they can't bring any changes in terms of their attitude towards women's working, women in public life, as well as education. We have to really remember the Taliban got rid of the Ministry of Women Affairs and replaced it with a brutal enforcer from the 1990s, Ministry of Vice and Virtue. And we have been told time and again that this is Taliban 2.0, but the reality is Taliban haven't changed. The only thing that they have changed is them being more hardliner, them being more rigid, and they have actually really failed to realize that today they are no more the shadow government, that they need to deliver to people as a responsible government. And so far, the Taliban have simply failed. And that isolation, not only from the international community, but the lack of recognition from the regional countries, Central Asian countries, Iran, Russia, will also hurt them severely in the long run.
And Bilal, what about delivering when it comes to keeping people safe and secure? This mosque bombing in Kunduz, more than 50 people dead, more than 140 wounded. During Friday prayers, when the mosque was packed with worshippers, and Islamic State claimed responsibility. Is Afghanistan under Taliban going to be harboring terrorism?
Well, that attack targeting a major Shia mosque as well as a major political hub in Kunduz city is alarming, because the Islamic State says a Uyghur, member of the Islamic, ETIM, East Turkestan Islamic movement, have carried out that attack. So China, for example, will be very, very worried, because it had continuously asked the Taliban to curb the activities of that group. So we'll have to see where that leads. But we continue to see daily attacks by the Islamic State against Taliban soldiers and fighters in the eastern provinces of Kunar and Nangarhar. and attacks also in Kabul, deadlier attacks. And because the previous state crumbled, all the state institutions have gone, the Taliban simply have failed to, be able to police those cities and to provide security. And they are, in many ways, facing their own insurgency, which appears to be actually quite brutal and deadly. And it's only a month or so since the Taliban have been in power. So that is an area that they will continue to struggle, actually.
All right, Bilal Sarwary, live for us in Toronto. Thank you.